I've been looking at the flight data from your notes. 8:23 p.m., April 6, 1994. It's haunting. We all know what happens next.
We do, but the crash itself, that's the real mystery.
It's a total locked room mystery. And what this deep dive shows is that it's not just a footnote. It's the big bang of the Rwandan genocide.
It is. And 30 years on, we're still debating who actually lit the fuse. The answer to who fired those missiles, it changes the entire story.
Right, because context is everything. President Habyarimana is flying home from Tanzania. He's just signed the Arusha Accords, this big peace deal.
To the rest of the world, yes. But to the Hutu hardliners at home, the Akazu.
They saw it as treason.
A suicide pact.
Yeah.
They believed he was giving away power to the RPF rebels. So he was landing in a complete pressure cooker.
And that's where you get these two totally contradictory theories. The first, the Bruguiere thesis, was the main story for a long time. It argues the RPF rebels, led by Paul Kagame, shut down the plane, the motive being, create chaos, break the ceasefire, and then just win the war.
Which is a plausible motive, on the surface.
Yeah.
But then you get the later inquiries, the Mutsinzi and Trevidic reports, and the forensics just point somewhere else entirely.
To the Hutu extremists.
Exactly. They argue the extremists killed their own president to stop the peace deal cold because he'd gone soft.
And this is where the tech gets so interesting. The Trevidic inquiry used, acoustics and trajectory analysis?
Yeah, and they pinpointed the launch site. It came from inside the Kanambi barracks.
Okay, and Kanambi was not just some field.
Not at all. It was the headquarters of the Presidential Guard, a fortress. The idea that an RPF team could, sneak in there, set up SA-16 missiles, fire them, and then just vanish.
It seems highly improbable.
It really strains belief.
And then there's the black box, or the lack of one.
The conveniently missing black box.
Right. French soldiers get to the crash site first, the recorder is likely found, and then, poof, it's gone.
It just screams cover up. But here's the most terrifying part. It almost doesn't matter who fired the missile, because the reaction on the ground was so fast.
So immediate, it proves this wasn't spontaneous.
Oh, it was a blueprint. The plane goes down, and within 45 minutes, roadblocks are up. They had lists. They were ready.
Which brings us to the genocide facts. I knew about the warnings, but seeing the actual cable from General Dallaire in January, months before, it's just infuriating.
It's one of the great tragedies of modern history, that document. An informant, Jean-Pierre, he goes to the UN. He tells them everything.
He says they're training militias to kill 1,000 Tutsis in 20 minutes. He even knows where the weapons caches are.
And Dallaire, he wants to act. He begs them, let me go raid these caches.
And New York says no.
The response was something like, not in the mandate. They basically told him to go inform the president, the head of the very government planning this. It's bureaucratic paralysis in the face of absolute evil.
And that paralysis just let them get all the logistics in place. We hear about RTLM radio, calling Tutsis Inyenzi cockroaches.
Using codes like cut the tall trees.
But the physical logistics, this one statistic just blew me away. In 1993 alone, Rwanda imported 581,000 machetes.
In 1 year.
That's one machete for every 3 adult Hutu men. You don't buy 500,000 machetes for agriculture.
No, you buy them for work. And that's what they called it, Gukora Akazi. Doing the work. When that plane went down, the whole machine was primed and ready.
The Prime Minister, Agathi Uwilingiamana, she's murdered the next morning. So are 10 Belgian peacekeepers.
And that was deliberate. They were killed to scare the West away.
And it worked. The world pulled out and the work began. It just leaves you with this heavy, awful what if. If that one fax in January had been acted on, if someone had just authorized that raid.
We could be talking about a completely different history. The warnings weren't just there, they were screaming. They were on the radio and in the purchase orders for all to see.
A grim reminder of what happens when the world looks away. That's all for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.